Oh, and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played between Super Pershing 1945 playing 11th Cavalry, and he's going up against CaveDweller playing 27Y. So we'll go through the deck reviews, then we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game, and as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so this is Super Pershing's deck review. He's playing as 11th ACAV. Basically, this div doesn't get that much infantry. You don't need that much infantry, frankly. You do get a lot of tanks, which for some reason he hasn't brought, so that's a bit odd. We'll go through it tab by tab. But yeah, basically, because you've only got 5 slots here, you can't afford to bring a CV here. And, okay, let's just start at the beginning, because I always do this. Get rid of those. This is 40 points, so this is the CV you want, right? Because it's 40 points, so you can buy 2 at the start. Helo CVs don't work against people with brains because they just shoot it down or RT it or something. Like, you can cap the back zones, but then what? You can't sit in the contested middle zone because you're going to get RT'd and just blown up, and they see it land, so... and it has to be landed to have the zone capped, so it's just not a good idea, really. In terms of supply, people do bring 3 cards of supply on this div because you've got loads of tanks. I mean, you're supposed to. Yeah, so Heimat Jaeger, yeah, 9 dudes. Yeah, you bring them because you don't have a lot of infantry. Now, instead of engineers, I appreciate this is a big squad. You want engineers flash because they, in one of these and one of these, just wins any infantry fight. So you want this. I think the Panzer Grenadier are correct at no vet. And then I wouldn't go for the 50 cals. I'd go for 1 card of mech rifles, dragon, upvetted. Because, like, sometimes you do just need some actual infantry instead of some trash. And air cav troopers in the Black Hawk. The idea being that you use the Black Hawks to scout. If you do manage to pull off the funny rush with the, one of these, but not this one, the AT1, then you can secure the ground and use the Black Hawk to scout because it's got a lot of HP, and even if you sell it when it's on 1 HP, you still get all the money back. So Arty, just bring 1 card of smoke mortars. Yeah, you can bring whichever one you want. I like the one with more range and more armor and cheaper, and a bit weird, isn't it? And then for the arty, you can bring 2 cards if you want, but generally you're a tank spam div. You don't want an attritional artillery duel because your arty just ain't that good compared to all these like Toad 4 per card. Whoa, people say that this really winds them up, so... The whole point of this div is that you're supposed to bring loads of tanks, so 2, 4, 6, yes, and then you should bring loads of M1A1s. The CEV, honestly, downvet it. These are so useful against infantry that you want all 6. So, yeah, you want more tanks, something like that. That's the point of the div. You could probably drop 2 if you want, but it is a tank div. Yeah, because you've got these. Scouts, you want them in the grenade launcher Humvee so it can kill infantry. In terms of your LRS, yes, for the airborne forward deployment. The Bradley thing, you want the one with 5 armor. And the TOW 2A. This can 2-shot T80 BV, this can't. And 5 armor means that you're going to survive Dragon 2s, Metis, Repairers, stuff like that. And it's only 20 points more, so you definitely want that. Yeah, you bring this. And then in terms of your helo options, right? Okay, so this is the one that launches Hellfires at people. Okay, this is the one that has 40% ECM and you put it in front of your other helicopters and it can take a hit and all this. And the jammer trait is actually useful. It makes the enemy artillery worse. You can't really tell, but it is actually helping you behind the scenes. And, if you were only to bring 1 card of recon helos, you'd bring this one so you get 4. But because you bring in 2, you might as well bring both of those. AA, yes, this one. Very good. And then the Eyehawks, never do that with your Eyehawks, because what if it dies? Well, you're completely screwed. And you basically, by the end of the game, you want 3 of them out anyway. And then you want the Stingers instead of the Pivads. For anti-infantry, you've got this. The Pivads is only good if your opponent flies all the way over it, which, some people are dumb, but, you got to think, well, what if my opponent has a brain? The Stinger has exceptional stealth, so it can get closer. It's also got more range. and it helps against the planes, whereas this doesn't really. Yeah, so Hogs, Sea Knights, yeah, bring the Sea Knight over the Tow Cobra for obvious reasons. It's got more dumbfire rockets as well, which most people don't notice. But I would only bring 2 of those, and now you've got 3 AP. So yes, long range fighter, short range fighter. Don't bring the HE one, because you have to fly right over the target to drop the bombs, and small bombs in this game suck, so you don't want that. You want the seed plane, because you've got a lot of bombers. The cluster plane is good, because it reloads in a minute, and this is terrible, because it reloads in 6 minutes. So instead of that, you bring the AT1, and you bring the A10. Okay, so instead of the AT1 now, actually, the LGBT is now 2 per card. So it's better against infantry, and given that you've got the cluster and you're going to bring the A10, you don't really struggle against tanks. You've also got the M1A1, which is like one of the best tanks in the game, so you don't struggle against enemy tanks. So instead of this thing, you would bring the A10, because that lets you do the funny opener where you open with, one of these, one of those, and you just kill everybody. And you can have the 3 AA helos behind it, and it's very, very funny. And then you can, if it succeeds, you can drop in some Black Hawk guys and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd probably try the LGBT. Now that it's 2 per card, it's probably a good choice. So yeah, that's a big upgrade in my opinion. So hopefully you find a lot more success with that. Switching to his opponent, we've got CaveDweller. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, so, if you find yourself running out of supply, always have the fuel switched off, right? And you can, because, yeah, maybe you would run out with only 2 cards, because it's supposed to be like a late-game tank spam div and all this. You could swap out... What exactly... Maybe the A10 if you don't want to do the funny thing, and then you could get a 3rd card of supply. But make sure you just switch off the fuel when they come in, and you'll notice they last a lot longer. His opponent has 3 cards of supply, which is why I brought it up, right? Because, yeah, this div's supposed to go late and do a lot of artying and so on, and tab by tab, hippie, tab by tab. Don't bring this. This one's good because you buy 2 at the start, it's very cheap. Yeah, you can bring the infantry commander if you want. Probably want the one with smoke, that is the same price. Conkers, I prefer the Conkers M. In this matchup, it doesn't actually matter, but against Leopard 1 divs, which are very popular in ranked, this will one-shot the Leopard 1, and this won't. So if you come up against a Leopard 1 div, you'll really wish you had the Conkers M. Grenade launcher, yes. Saperi RPO, yes. And then these line infantry should all be at 1 vet all the time, all of the day, bro. So, right, think about it, right? So you got, for starters, one of these should be a BMP-2AG, because it's cheaper and it's really, really, really good against infantry because of the grenade launcher and the autocannon and the PKT. This is better against infantry, but it costs 30 points more, so... And then these, I would 2-vet, because how many... this is 140 points. Now, in terms of these ones, right, yes, if you want a BTR-80, bring this, but the idea, I thought, would be you want a cheap infantry just to kind of hold ground and spam out. And then this is kind of slightly better. So surely this one should be in the truck so you can spam it out. And then this one should be the BTR-80. Just an idea. And if you just want it for AT, well, you'd bring this one instead. These are always funny to sneak around the sides. But this div isn't really built for that. Right. The new meta is towed arty because it's more cost effective than self-propelled by quite some margin. So you want 2 of these, and then 2 of these. And you up-vet these, and this is just pure counter battery. You leave it at the back on counter battery. And then this is for close range, you just spam them out. It doesn't even matter if they die. Your arty slots are 1 point, so you don't even have to supply them or whatever. And I personally would bring a smoke mortar instead of a second card of D30s, because I really like smoke mortars, but most people don't, even at the high end. These should be at 1 vet, get rid of the sprut, it does the same thing as the Conqueror's M. They are defensive items, right, that hold ground, except this has way more range, and this, honestly, it would be good if you had, like, really cheap tank slots, but it's just not worth it. And that allows you to bring 60 ABVs, 2, 4, not enough CVs, there you go. Recon, yeah, you can bring this for the funny business at the start, where you, you know, you open with the fighter that isn't there. Yeah, just get rid of one of these. Like, this is really good. It's really, really, really good. Right, the only reason for the T8M is for the funny opener, where you open with this and that and the cheaper fighter, which you haven't actually brought, so you might as well just bring this one, if you're not going to do the funny opener. Because, yeah, it's just a meme, like, it's not actually competitively viable. This is the first thing that's going to arrive on the field, so you want it in a BTR 80, so that it gets there faster, and it can actually win the fight. Yeah, you can. These are decent. It's just they're very expensive, and frankly, like if you want to defend as a place, well, you just put this there, and it's got better stealth. So they are really good against people who don't know how to use recon, because they can just sit there shooting at you, and you don't see them. Unless you've got recon, like it can just pour the autocannon into you, and you're like, well, why can't I shoot back? It's pretty interesting, but it's very expensive, and I think you'd be better off bringing this, and you put it with your tanks, and then your tanks can actually see, because you've still got. I mean, so you got Saperi RPO here, so you don't really need the satchels, because like this is your cheap, cheerful recon. I really like these. I think they're hilarious. You just send them around the sides and kill everything. But you've got plenty of BTR 80s, and you can sort of do it with this, and you need this for your tanks. So AA, I'd upvet that. Tor's good. Do you need the Strellas and the Tonguskas? Maybe you do. I mean, I'd be tempted to swap out the Strela 10M3, because this, you just switch off the gun and then it's can't be seeded and whatever, and they have the same aim time, so. And then you bring this thing, and whenever you take ground, you just put that there and it kills everybody. It's pretty funny. You can upvet it if you want. But then you've got 1 AP left, and that's the end of the world. Frankly, most people bring 2 cards of fighters on this div. The TOS are good, though, so maybe you don't need it. But yeah, you could downvet this, put a CV next to them. But you'd want to do that anyway and get them at 2 vet, and then you get the ultimate counter battery piece, but yeah, sacrifices have to be made. And then you would get rid of this, because you got the grenade launcher, right? How much is this slot? That's a 3-point one. Get rid of that. Put this back in. I might as well bring these in the car now, because the MTLB, it doesn't save it really. But it's cheaper, so. And then you've got 5 AP, and then you get the second card of fighters, right? And then you can do the funny opener now, so you bring this one instead. And then you've still got 2 AP left, and you can spend it on whatever your heart desires. Probably not some more arty. Although, well, okay, you could downvet that, and now you've got 3 AP, and now you can bring even more tanks. Which is sort of what the div's all about, so. Yeah. Right, so with that out of the way, the decks are really, really, really weird. This guy is playing a tank div, he's got no tanks, and this guy brings all his tanks down vetted, so who knows, what could possibly happen. In terms of the deployments, we got the 2 cheap CVs, and he brings like a Hilo CV and stuff, it's very odd. So 2 cheap CVs for Alpha Bravo Delta Charlie. And then, yeah, a couple of Spets Razvedka in the wrong transport. He's trying to get all the way to here, which is completely unrealistic. It's a middle zone. Your enemy's going to be in the middle somewhere, right? He's done the same thing. So we'll see who reacts first. Does have the recon attack helo there. We'll see how that goes. Razvedka around the sides, and then he's sending the vehicle up here. What if he comes here, though? So you would unload the Razvedka here and then put the vehicle there. But they can still use this road, so you have to put it, like, there or something. It's kind of... yeah, there's good, if that's cover. Or here. Igla, grenade launcher, Metis, and the Sprut, which, I mean... I've had this used against me, and, you know, if you ambush somebody, obviously it does a lot of damage if it hits them, but it's probably not going to hit them, and you're better off just bringing 2 more T-80 BBs, frankly. Especially if you've already got the Conquer's M, which is there. More Razvedka here, but no vet in the BMP2. BMP3, it's like basically not much on this side at all. Yeah, but the cheap CV, so he's just going for Charlie, I guess. His opponent, I don't know if this was a ranked game or if they're just friends or what, because they both seem to have had the same idea. Although the LRS is going all the way in, so he'll at least just get that basically uncontested with 1 unit. So it's always worth just sending 1 unit, because you never know what you might get. We've got a 1 Helo CV. So you just want to open with the NATO equivalent of 2 of these for 80 points, rather than 1 Helo CV, which is very easy to kill. 3 LRS, which is 1 too many, because you know you've noticed you don't have any backup. 3 AA Helos, the one that launches Hellfires, and a fighter, and the ACAV tank. So yeah, not a lot of infantry like you'd want. A flash, a mech rifles, and a CEV, maybe. Obviously, you know, I assume he's bought some planes or something, because, like, where are all his units? Anyway, let's find out. Right, so they're off, and the F-16's going up against the MiG-29 there, and they kill each other, which, okay, they cost about the same, so I guess that makes sense. The generous channel joiners get their names on the screen, did I mention that? And he brings the crap A-10. You've got 3 options, the rocket one, the AT one, and the HE one, and he somehow managed to bring the worst one, so I'm not sure why. Oh, yeah, you really gotta micro these properly, man. You gotta pay attention to them. If you just right-click the enemy, then they don't work properly, because they're like, I'll just do a whole turn. So yeah, the reason this is crap is because these bombs reload in 4 minutes, and they're small bombs anyway, so you might as well just get the AT one. Because what are you using them to kill anyway? What do you need the bombs for? To kill infantry? Well, you just shoot them with the... I mean, if you get the rocket one, you just use the rockets. And if you get the AT one, well, the gun will suppress them anyway. So they've first ticked both of them have bought another fighter. It makes sense, actually. That's a good purchase for blue to buy that, because you would expect red to buy it to kill the A-10, because he didn't open with any AA on the ground whatsoever. No tar, no nothing. So I guess all his guys are just going to die here, and he's lost this zone. The Helo CV has been forgotten, so he's not capping anything, so the enemy's actually on a +2. And hopefully, he's going to buy a unit and put it here. You know, buy another unit for here, like an AA, like a... oh, he doesn't have the Stingers for whatever reason, so... yeah, really weird game. So if you know, if you're like, oh, I don't want to play ranked, everybody's really too good. Well, there are players who play suboptimally, right? So, for example, right, you know, this guy's not actually been in the fight this whole time. He's just been watching his mate get shot. And so, if that was here, obviously, that you'd be doing a lot better. And he's realised, but, like, just put it there. You don't have to... I suppose if he's going for the CV, it makes sense. The Helo CVs, he has awoken. Yeah. You don't bring that. it's just such a waste of time. If he had just bought the 2 slow ones and shift queued them, as you can see, well, his opponent's on a +3, right? And obviously it would be a +4 if he owned this zone, so you see the lack of efficacy of the 1 Helo CV, which costs almost as much as 2 of these, and what's the advantage? It's faster. Well, you can clearly see that it isn't, so... hopefully that clears that up. And yeah, you really want to be, yeah, so stuff like this is good. You want to be reinforcing, you want a little bit of, like, not having, I'm pretty sure he doesn't bring the stingers. I know I just did the deck review, but I had to block it out of my mind because of how crazy it was. You would want a stinger in here, right? Because they, you know, what if there's a helo? You get a stinger in here, and you don't get infantry ATGM teams. Oh, well, you do, but you shouldn't bring them because you don't have enough infantry slots. So yeah, you would put like a Marder there, and or a Jaguar 2 actually would be perfect, or a Recon Bradley, right? So yeah, the Helo CV, as you can see, complete waste of time. He's 160 points down because he bought that instead of the easier option. So I just don't bother. So yeah, the game, I mean, Red basically has to rebuy his whole army because he just walked up here and died. Yeah. I mean, so if you're the 27Y player, I mean, yeah, fighting here is fine. I mean, you are technically an infantry div, you get the Sapphire RPO, you get the grenade launchers. But yeah, you have BMP3s and stuff, and they're super good in the open. So it might have been worth whole-arsing it here and only putting a couple of units here for red rather than what we saw. But, you know, 11th ACAV doesn't have that much infantry. You get enough, frankly. For a 1v1, you get enough. You just have to be a little bit careful with it. You can't just send it in constantly and wave after wave. But you don't really need that much infantry, frankly, in this game. If you use it properly. You know, you just send it, because the infantry is just there to hold ground and scout and, you know, to actually kill other infantry, you use something like the Flash, sure. And you use like mortars, howitzers, planes, helicopters, it's basically everything. The CEV, right? So you don't really need that much infantry on this div. So it is, you see it played a lot in the tournaments. 27Y, basically they used to be, well, they still are, they just play Broken Arrow now, like a bigger Russian contingent in the pro scene. So pro Commie and Scuff, and they used to just play Pact 24/7. I've not seen them around for a bit. I guess they'll probably come back next time there's a big tournament. So it's not that these divs are bad. It's just like, so like the biggest, so there's like an absolutely massive Ukrainian contingent, and they just never play the Soviet divs because obviously, you know, it should be obvious. I shouldn't have to explain it to you. So some of it is literally just where you're from. So I play against German players who literally just play as West Germany 24/7, and they refuse to play as East Germany. And, you know, it's like, okay, just, yeah, sure, whatever. Because, yes, of course, Ukraine was in the Soviet Union, but yeah, obviously it's a bit more pertinent given the current conflict. So, yeah, nothing's happening, so we're going to speed it up until something happens. Just basically, red has to... Something might be happening. No, I can hear him flying away. It's like, you should really buy the Tor. Needs a Tor back there. He's got the Tor now. Bit of arty comes out for the Tunguska. So yeah, this makes sense. He's moving after he shoots it. And if you get the cheap CVs, right, you put it... Well, something might be happening. So the A10 tries to dive the Tunguska. And it's not that it gets it. The Jaguar 2 does, and then the Tor kills it. So, yeah, I mean, if you're the 11th ACAV player, you really need to buy some tanks. It's sort of the whole point of your division. But as you know from the deck review, he doesn't really bring any. He brings like 6, and 4 of them are CVs. The whole point of this div is that you've got a decent opener with the AA Helos and the LRS, and as you can see, that did well. And then you need to kind of stabilize, that's the hard part, and then you start buying the M1A ones. Because, you know, you would park it here and it would just kill all this, so... But I don't know, if he's just not playing it like a tank div. He should play, if you're going to do this, just play 8th at US, because, well, you get more infantry and you still get some M1s, so you might as well just play that rather than this. This is supposed to be more of a tank thing, less of an infantry thing. So, the other thing with... yes, you can move them. You can move them. So, yeah, you need to like hide these behind the buildings. You can bind a hotkey to this, to turn it to nothing immediately, rather than having to press this twice, which is slow. And also, if you press it twice fast, it only reads one of the presses. It's actually infuriating. So you just go to the options, and it's down here somewhere. Auto cover. I have mine on O, because... no, I don't. This is the guy who sent me the replays settings. I've got mine on the tilde key, or the tab key. I can never remember, I just sort of press it. I think it's the tilde key. And then I've got, like, land, because landing helicopters I've got on the backspace. The one next to shift, sorry, the backslash. There is a land one in here somewhere. You know, to make the helicopter land quick, so you don't have to press down here for it to land. It really helps, honestly, to just get into the habit of doing it. And the earlier you do it, like, yeah, so the default is K, which is like... not happening, basically. And then, like, cell, I've got bound to R instead of L, which was the default. There's still a couple I have in dumb places, like I still have H for hold fire, which is, you gotta move your hands off the WAS to do that, so it's probably not a good idea. And, you know, the way you would use this is, you would pop the smoke as the ATGM's coming, so pop the smoke now, and then just immediately drive through it. Yeah, and you really gotta pay attention to what it's shooting, because you'll notice it just target switched to this. It's because the cohesion on that went to 0, and then it fired a shot which hit you, so the game's a bit stupid in that regard. You really got to pay attention to it. It's one of those things that if you play the game a lot, you don't really see it. You don't think about it. So, in terms of the smoke, it's good to see smoke. Basically, if this guy was still in the fight, I suppose it would make sense to smoke there, because, yeah, as soon as they come through, you shoot them. And then... yeah, like, he's gonna be repairing for ages. Like, where are the tanks? I don't... it's a tank div. You should buy the tanks. Is that an outrageous statement? Does that strike you as unfair? Because, yeah, obviously this is going very badly for him. So he bought the arty, and he really should have had more in here, instead of buying these 2 arty pieces. That's 2 minutes income. That could have been, you know, you can buy like 5 of these, so that's 10 units. I don't recommend doing that, but basically you'd get 2 of them and an M1A1, and you would have the stingers, and you would put a stinger in here, because what if something were to happen, right? I know obviously nothing ever happens, but so yeah, that was very greedy, because he knows about the TOR, because it shot his A10 before. So, well, at that point he should have kept going for it and tried to come out this way where the TOR can't shoot you because you're over here, because instead he just flew over it, decided not to get the kill, and let it live, and still died. So, you know, the second one, because the TORs were shooting the first one, the second one should have kept going there. It's obviously, it's hard to, like, you know... it can really only be explained on a case-by-case basis. It's not just learn this rule and then it's sorted, because there's so many interacting systems in this game that it's, is he just going to drive into his enemy's smoke? So yeah, you want to smoke that and go back, so the enemy doesn't shoot you. And so on and so on. So yeah, honestly, if you're going to play it like this, I recommend just playing 101st Airborne, because they get all the same helicopters, apart from this, but it would be an Apache instead. And you still get some tanks, the Meeps, and given that you just don't want to buy tanks, you might as well, like, so that basically with this should be at 1 vet, and it should have a CEV with it, and the CEV would kill the infantry, and the tank would, you know, kill the armor, basically. And, you know, you would smoke with this, and then you would smoke with this, and then drive through the smoke and kill this, and then that would never hit you, so... you know, it's always interesting when people say ATGMs are too strong, you just immediately know that they don't, you know, their micro isn't very good. This guy hasn't said that. It's just in general, as a general comment. You get people like, ATGMs are way too strong. Well, that's like, that's what noobs say, basically, because, yeah, all you would have to do here, because, like, now he's low cohesion, he's not going to hit anything. All you would have to do is just pop the smoke before the first one hits you, drive through it and shoot them, and then when the next one comes, you reverse back into the smoke, and then it just never hits you. It's obviously, you know, easier said than done, but as you practice doing that, you will get better at it. This is where something like that, if that was at 1 vet, wouldn't have died there. So there's never any point in bringing them at no vet, because, well, it's just a paperweight. So yeah, Red's managed to come back in. I mean, so that's the big advantage with IFVs, that if you're not good at combined arms, just play an IFV div, because you get your combined arms for free. You don't have to think about it. You get your infantry, your anti-tank, and your anti-infantry, and, you know, sort of a little bit of anti-helo, all in one package, right? So something like a div like TKS, it's obviously very hard to play, because if you wanted those things, you'd have to buy them all separately. If you want the anti-tank, you got to buy an ATGM. If you want the anti-infantry, you got to buy the infantry, and or a tank or whatever. So yeah, the pack divs are fairly straightforward, but generally they can get outmaneuvered. Probably not by 11th US, but you get outmaneuvered by lighter NATO divs. So yeah, you didn't move that, so it died. I mean, it's like, just move it, but obviously that, you know, I've been playing this game for 4 years, so for me it's very like, well, obviously, but it's one of those things where it's easy to say and it's very hard to do. Obviously, he knows that he should move that. He probably just didn't see it. And yeah, you'd want like a, you know, Marder here, right? With the infantry. This LRS would go to here so it can see, and then you'd have the Panzer Grenadier in this building, and then you'd move the Marder over on this side, and then the enemy can't get around to you. But 27Y isn't the sort of div that gets around people, but you should be sending the BTR-80s around the side just to annoy people. So yeah, so everybody died, and now we're going to sit here and wait for the next attack to happen. Meanwhile, this guy is doing a lot of damage because his opponent, you know, that helo could have just been sent over. I suppose he'd have to stay back here or the Tor would hit him. And yeah, he's buying the Abrams now, but they're at no vet, so yeah, you need some infantry in here to clear this out. And, you know, like that's shooting at you. That means you can see it, so you can bring the tanks over. And if you had the CEV, it would just absolutely nail that. And so, yeah, he's just sat there getting shot by BMP3s. It's very sad. But he's got lots of tanks now, which is good. So that got rectified. But now all of the... So this is another issue, right? Now all of the IFVs have died. And the ATGMs and the, you know, the recon, and like no Stinger, so there is no AA here apart from these two, which typically you want to buy all three at once, and have them a little bit more spread out than that. I suppose the Ihawk's back here, but what if a helo comes here and just kills these? Well, you can't do anything. Because if these go over, the Tor will shoot them, so that's why you need the Stingers, because they can get closer. So the exceptional, they can just go where the infantry goes, right? That's the idea. So, did you notice that just decided to show its rear towards the enemy and get shot? And if that had hit it, it would have died. He's just not looking. It's very sad. That's because this is on defensive, and that's what it does. Sorry, it's on auto cover. It's that one. It's the auto cover one. So when it doesn't have a direct order, it will prioritize getting into cover, and it doesn't use reverse to do that. It will just turn, show its rear to the enemy, and just drive in here and get shot. And if it had hit him, it probably would have killed him. Depends if it got him on the side armor or the rear armor. But so I do recommend having auto cover on, but you need to bind that key, because like It's the same with these, you know, the guys that were just here getting shot. So you would just drop them behind, you would press the key, drop them behind the building, and then they'd stay there. Whereas if you get them out of the building and it's got the cover thing on, that should have survived that. Oh, it was a side shot. Yeah, you want to reverse away from the vehicle, away from the plane, so that it's a front shot. Although it fires 2 missiles, so maybe it would have hit it twice anyway, but that was a side shot. And that's, once again, if there was a stinger here, well, he might have been evac slightly faster and so on, so you do need those stingers. Yeah, so you would drop it, you would press the button and drop it back, and then it would just hide behind there, and then it wouldn't die, and then all of this fire support just suddenly becomes useless. They have to send the infantry in, and because it's an engineer squad, it probably win. So it's a small thing, but over here, this one motor stroke, he's going for the tour, which is smart. His opponent's RT tab is a mess, frankly. He should be winning the RT duel, but just brings some very strange things. So we've got the recon, but you'd want a Bradley with it because this only has good optics instead of very good, and it does matter. But yeah, he's doing it, and he's got them right-click this time so that they don't randomly target switch when one of them runs out of cohesion. And so yeah, this guy should be smoking, really, or just reversing, because he has the range advantage, but whatever. Don't you want to kill that? He really needs to sort this out. He's got the right things for it now. How's he seeing these? Is it just because they never moved, or did he fly, he's not got the seed, has he? From the deck review, he's not got the seed, so... Because the siege sees them before it shoots them, so you can just fly on the edge and then RT it. I mean, that's more useful for those EW aircraft, which obviously can never shoot them, so... But yeah, it's good to go for the AA. You should always focus the enemy AA, because it's expensive and it dies easy, because, you know... There's some kind of hidden modifier that makes it take more damage against RT, from what I understand. Most of them have less than 1 top armor, it might just be that. That one actually did have 1, so... But like a Cub would have less than 1. Something like an Eyehawk obviously doesn't move, so... it's towed, so, you know, it's obviously not got the armor. So yeah, it looks like that's pretty much sorted now, and then Red's just going to do the same thing again. He does need some recon here, does need some recon here. This is actually, so generally when the Mega Sweats play on this side, they don't put anybody here at all, and then they spend the whole game attacking this. And the problem with the Mega Sweats is all they play is tank divs because they're the strongest divs, so... It tends to be I'm on something like 4th UK, and they're on 5th Panzer for the 10 millionth time, or 11th Cavalry. It was the last time I played on this map, I was against 11th Cavalry. It's like, this is super fair, but... You have to expect that there's always going to be a contingent of people who just, you know, they just do whatever's strongest, right? And obviously you would hope they would rise to the top, otherwise they're wasting their time, right? So, yeah, I got PTSD from this map. So yeah, the tank block continues, and, you know, Red doesn't have good strike craft, because it's just the T8M, and yeah, you always want the supply like really close to them, because now you want the smoke back, right? And so you want them healing up as fast as possible, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, you would smoke with that, because that one hasn't used its smoke yet, so there's no reason for it to be getting hurt there. The Eyehawk needs to be 1 building closer. I was going to say, why isn't that fired? It's the close range one. And now you need to move the Eyehawk because it will get RT'd. Look, he's pinged it. So, yeah, you can use the Helo one to supply the small ones, and that does actually make them repair faster. It's not like 2 supply is twice as fast, but it does make them repair a bit faster. Yeah, so something's happening here. He didn't put anything there, right? He's got those 50 cal teams, which I don't recommend bringing, but if you have one should be here. And, you know, like a Armada 1A3 or whatever could have covered the roads. But the great part about using these tanks is that they can move. And so, once he's dealt with this... And look, because he killed the Tors, this isn't going to die. Crazy, right? Literally insane. Who could have thought of that? so yeah, always focus the enemy arty. But yeah, I guess this is only one Acacia and it's too far away, so it just missed. I mean, it does happen. And yeah, so if you had the cheapo CVs, once they finish capping everything, the one here would be brought back to the arty. You can do it with the helo, I think, if you just right-click on it, but I'm not sure, because basically then you always know where the enemy arty is, because you see this helo moving around the backline, so it's, I mean, it's better than just leaving it there and having it do nothing, I suppose. The other place you'd put it is next to your Eyehawk. Oh yeah, he only brings one Eyehawk. So that's a 2-vet. You don't do that, because what if that arty had hit you? What if that arty... The only reason it didn't was because of luck. He had it there, you hadn't moved it, it had a big circle around it, and it didn't land on it because of luck. One round would have killed it, and then you would have no Eyehawks. So you really don't want to be 2-vet in your Eyehawk. You want all 3. It's just not worth the risk. So Red's changing it up now. He's having a little bit more success here, which you'd expect, right? I guess, but at the start, I don't know. Like both of them just walked past each other, and then the LRS ended up here, even though I suppose the Spetsnaz. Oh yeah, the Spetsnaz Vedka were in the slower transport because he brought the 91 instead of the 100, and they don't have airborne forward deployment. So I guess it makes sense that that happened. Well, that explains why that happened. So, yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, if this wasn't at 2-vet, you'd have 3 out by now, and then these would actually be dying instead of getting hit once and leaving. So yeah, more infantry's coming in, but... So he lost vision. If it kept the vision, it might have still hit it, because it's a guided round instead of fire and forget. But yeah, you want one of those recon Bradleys with this, because the only good optics is not... How did that die? It was a front shot, how did it die? Or was it a rear shot and it was facing backwards for some reason? No, that's definitely the back. Beats me, man. But you'll notice they're not shooting the BMP3s. You wonder why that is. It's because it can't see them. So that's why you need the Bradley. And then you would just land that with the hotkey, right? So it'd be nice and fast. Oh, it might have been this. You know, because it's got such a high pen. Maybe that hit at the exact same time that the BMP3 round did, and that's... And maybe it was a side shot. I mean, that's... Yeah, it could have been. Could have been a side shot. Like a very narrow angle side shot. The angle on those is quite narrow. So, yeah, I mean, it continues on. Obviously, Red's got absolutely no hope in hell at winning at this point. So, we might as well just speed it up a bit, because... I mean, all he's going to do is just keep smacking his face into here. He's 1,500 points down. So, don't really see how he can come back. I mean, his opponent might just feed, which is always a possibility. So yeah, big blob of Saperis. I mean, obviously, if you want to improve, you can play the whole game, and using the cluster plane against the infantry is, you know, not a good idea. And did you notice that Helo CV died because it's shit, right? So hopefully I've drilled that point in enough now. You can see how it's really not helping you. Wow, something's actually happening, bros. He just didn't defend his flanks at all, and the enemy's just driving straight in. So this is why you would have, you know, before when I said you should have like a Marder here, it's just what if something were to happen? You would always want to defend your flanks, especially if you're winning hard. you just get like, so something like this is 90 points, and it can cover 2 places because the infantry would go there, the Marder would go here, and then this wouldn't have happened, or at least, you know, you'd expect these to kill 1 Marder in a defensive position. Obviously, instead it was just in the open, but it would take long enough that you could react with your, you know, your helos, your tanks, and so on. So yeah, I mean, Red, he's got it, and I suppose if he actually sent the CV up instead of just sitting there, he would be on a +3. But yeah, the blob is moving. Just remember to buy the CEVs. Oh, there's one. Because, you know, you put them with your tanks, and then they kill the infantry, right? They suppress the infantry, and if there's an enemy ATGM, you know, you just walk up to it and kill it in 1 hit. So, and they don't really seem to miss if they're in buildings, even though it's obviously doesn't say 100%. Just because of the splash, it would definitely kill that ATGM. Basically, I've never seen it not kill it if it shoots at it. It must happen. I mean, maybe if it's on low cohesion or something. So yeah, I mean, credit to Red. You know, he sort of managed it. It's obviously impossible for him to win, statistically speaking, but if you're playing to get better, then yeah, playing the longer games is probably a good idea. It depends which part of the game you struggle with. I struggle with the longer games, so I should practice that. I struggle with the tank meta blobbing because I don't practice it. It's the strongest way to play, but I just find it incredibly boring. But I get into these tournaments, and I always finish in the same place. It's like top 16 or top 8. And it's always for the same reasons, which is that I just run into too many meta tank blobbers and then I get eliminated, right? There's basically nobody left in the top. There are like noob tournaments and stuff, but there's nobody left who plays in an asymmetrical manner. They just all tank blob. And then they complain that air's too strong because one time they lost their tank to a plane. So air's too strong, we need to nerf it so that I can tank blob more. Typically, if the enemy's in your zone, you want to drive the CV in. So look, the Helo CV. Have you noticed it's been shot? Look at how useful it's going to be. Wow! Never bring this! If that was the ground one, it would have just walked in. So, yeah, the enemy's on a +5 now. But that's obviously because, you know, this should be sorted out shortly. He's just got to walk over there. Although he's not doing it, he's going the wrong way. So, interesting. And then yeah, on this side, that obviously would have been capped if it was just a regular CV. So I think he's got some like Bradley CVs left or something. And well, you'll notice he actually does own the zone. It's just doesn't have the CV. So he's sort of noticing now. Typically, right, you'd want to, yeah. So getting this in there makes sense because it kills the vehicles, and then these guys. That should be an engineer flash anyway. He arted that, okay. You might not know this. You know, if you click up here, it just goes to where it is. You can also press space. The issue with that is that it counts sold units as the last thing. So you press space and it just goes back here and it's like, you sold a truck. And it's... So yeah, you always want to put a unit here with AT because they come in and then you kill them, right? And then this should be, I suppose, well yeah, because you've got a unit on this side, so this should be tracking this side of the forest so that it can kill them as they come in. Instead, they're just going to go right past him and he won't be able to do anything. Is there a CV coming? He's bought a CV. I could have sworn he had those like Bradley ones, but... Oh, no, I think that might have been the other guy. I don't know. It all blurs into one. So, yeah, you know, all skill levels are welcome in Warno. Obviously, people are going to laugh at you and so on, but it does happen. So yeah, if this was there, that would be dead. And this would be dead. And then these would die. So, oh, well, okay. At that point, you probably notice and unload them, so... So yeah, obviously his enemy's just kind of driving into him anyway. There we go. So yeah, you got rank 180 versus rank 165. So there you go, they're in the top 200. Not many people play ranked anymore, so or it might just be I've become too jaded. So you know, that's top 200 gameplay, that. So do give ranked a go. What's the worst that can happen? Somebody pays to have your game cast so everybody can laugh at you. That would never happen. So yes, please don't bring Hilo CVs. They are just so bad. It really is remarkable how bad they are. Uh, anyway, I'll see you around, GG.